Socialization and Education. Introduction of the concept. In the last two units of Sociology of Education, we have looked at the concept and theories of Sociology of Education. In this unit, we will deal with a concept in the Sociology of Education named Socialization. Socialization is a general term used to describe the processes happening between society and human beings. But more specifically, it is a core concept of Sociology of Education. Socialization is a term used by sociology, social psychology, and educational theories. This term refers to the process of inheriting, learning, and internalizing the norms, customs, and ideologies of a culture and society. A society develops a culture through a number of shared norms, customs, values, traditions, social roles, symbols, and languages. Socialization helps an individual to learn and inherit these values. More than that, it helps him, her, to gain the skills and habits that are necessary for participating within their own society. In other words, socialization makes a person an accepted individual in a society by cultivating certain values. We can say that socialization is the process by which society and culture continue to exist. Socialization may or may not affect the reflexive agent and may or may not bring a desirable outcome. We cannot guarantee that this process will influence all the individuals of the society in the same manner and will produce the same impact. Many socio-political theories postulate that socialization provides only a partial explanation for human beliefs and behaviors. The individuals or the agents are not blank slates. They also have a set of psychological and sociological factors determining them. There are many studies which prove that human beings are influenced by a complex set of factors. Biology, genes, learning abilities, language, and many other factors play a strong role in the growth of the individual. They play an equal part in building the behavior of a human being. Scientific research provides strong evidence that people are shaped by both social influences and their biological makeup. Genetic studies have shown that a person's environment interacts with their genotype to influence behavioral outcomes. The linguistic theory of generative grammar demonstrates how something such as the capacity for learning changes throughout one's lifetime. Socialization is the primary means by which human infants begin to acquire the skills necessary to perform as a functioning member of their society. This is said to be the most influential learning processes one can experience. Culture, according to sociology, can be found at two levels. A. It is manifest in the actions, customs, and behaviors of whole social groups. B. The most fundamental expression of culture is found at the individual level. Both these levels are important for the continuity of the culture. The individual expression of culture occurs with the help of multiple agents. In other words, this is done only after an individual has been socialized by its parents, family, extended family, and extended social networks. Socialization contains processes of learning and teaching. Module 2. Theories and functions of socialization. Many philosophers have expressed their views on the process of socialization. Theories of socialization are to be found in Plato, Montaigne, and Rousseau. There is a dictionary entry from 1828 that defines socialize as to render social, to make fit for living in society. However, it was George Simmel who popularized this concept, and as a result, it was incorporated into various branches of psychology and anthropology. According to the major theories, there are 6 types of socialization. They are: 1. Primary socialization, 2. Secondary socialization, 3. Developmental socialization, 4. Anticipatory socialization, 5. Resocialization, 6. Organizational socialization. Primary socialization. A child learns the attitudes, values, and actions appropriate to individuals as members of a particular culture. In the beginning, it happens through the interactions in the family and extended family and community. For example, the behavior and opinions of the parents have an impact on the child. When a child sees a particular behavior and opinions of his, her parents and the members of the society, the child thinks this behavior is acceptable. This leads to the child learning that particular habit, behavior, opinion. This process is called primary socialization. Secondary socialization. Secondary socialization is the process of learning what an appropriate behavior is as a member of a smaller group within the larger society. It is usually associated with teenagers and adults. Anticipatory socialization. This refers to the processes of socialization in which a person prepares himself or herself for future positions, occupations, and social relationships. Developmental socialization. This is the process of learning behavior in a social institution or developing your social skills. Resocialization. In his, her lifetime, a person learns and unlearns behaviors and values constantly. Resocialization is a process of discarding former behavior patterns and accepting new ones as part of a transition in one's life. Resocialization can be an intense experience because it involves breaking away from past beliefs and experiences. Also, she learns radically different norms and values. This is a significant part of any individual's life. Organizational socialization. Human beings learn the knowledge and skills necessary to assume his or her organizational role. This is known as organizational socialization. They learn about the organization and its history, values, jargon, culture, and procedures. They also learn about their work group, the specific people they work with on a daily basis, their role in the organization, the skills needed to do their job, formal procedures, and informal norms. Functions. Socialization can be seen as a control system in society. Individuals learn to internalize and obey social and cultural values and practices. Human infants are born without any culture. The job to transform them rests on their parents, teachers, and others. Through constant processes, they are transformed into cultural and socially adept animals. The main functions of socialization are: socialization teaches us the language of the culture we are born into, as well as the roles we are to play in life. Socialization teaches us the occupational roles we are meant to do in our lives. We also learn and usually adopt our culture's norms through the socialization process. The notions of appropriate, expected behavior that are held by most members of the society is known as norms. A cultural norm is an established standard of what a group expects in terms of thought and conduct. These expectations and desirable behaviors often vary from one culture to the next. They are also in different forms like the values, folk ways, and morals. In every society, there is reinforcement of morals. Anything that is contrary to the moral, like murder and robbery, are met with punishment. This helps the members of the society to learn and respect laws. Socialization refers to the general process of acquiring culture. But anthropologists use the term enculturation for the process of being socialized to a particular culture. Personality formation is dependent on socialization. Much of human personality is the result of our genes, but the socialization process helps to mold it in particular ways by encouraging specific beliefs and attitudes. This helps the smooth functioning of culture. For instance, the Semai tribesmen of the central Malay Peninsula of Malaysia typically are gentle people who do not like violent, aggressive individuals. On the other hand, the Yanomamo Indians of Venezuela and Brazil usually train their boys to be tough and aggressive. Likewise, Shiite Muslim men of Iran are expected at times to publicly express their religious faith through self-inflicted pain. Uniformity within a society is achieved through successful socialization. If all children receive the same socialization, they will share the same beliefs and expectations. This is one reason why national governments try to standardize education and make it compulsory for all children. They choose what things will be taught and how they are taught. This can be seen as a powerful political tool for controlling people. This is an extremely strong tool to mold people into law-abiding citizens too. Through socialization, governments stop people from breaking the laws or wanting radical social changes. However, in societies, there are individuals who do not conform to culturally defined standards. Sociologists argue that such exceptions happen because they have not internalized the norms of society. The human child has a remarkable capacity to imitate others, to develop according to the tenets of environment. As a social animal, she tries to win the appreciation of the group in which she lives. As a result, she naturally tries to imitate the culture of the group. It is socialization that gives her a balanced personality. The social aspect of the personality is no less important than the individual aspect. Socialization teaches her to retain control over her in the interest of others. Module 3. Key concepts of socialization. The patterns of behaviors of a society have to pass on to its members. In a primitive society, the transmission of the culture was a major part of education. It was focused on how the children are given what we call primary education in the family without ever entering a school. At the age of 5 or 6, children start to go to school. By the time the family has already a great deal of educational care and nurture, much of the culture has by this age been transmitted. The schools have come to occupy a major role as they care for their pupils. Schools provide good moral upbringing and complement the role of the family. But the values that the school tries to inculcate may be contrary to those that the family teaches. For example, in schools, stealing may be taught very wrong by the teacher, but no one may prevent a child from taking apples or mangoes from an orchard. The key concepts and ideas in socialization are as follows. Ideal and real culture. Ideal culture consists of officially approved behavior patterns. Real culture consists of what people actually do in their day-to-day practices without due consideration to their official status. Subculture. A subculture is a group smaller than a society. It is related to the larger culture in the sense that it accepts many of its norms. But the subculture is also distinguishable because it has some norms of its own. Cultural relativity. It is impossible to understand behavior patterns of other groups if we analyze them only in terms of our motives and values. A trait which may be disruptive in one society may be vital to the stability of another. Cultural shock. When an individual is exposed to an alien cultural environment and among people who do not share his fundamental beliefs, it is called a cultural shock. Cultural change. Cultural change occurs whenever new traits and trait complexes like traditions, values, and customs emerge. They replace the old ones in content and structure. Although resistance to change is most evident when changes occur, but it is inevitable. Cultural lag. When the non-material element of culture, like norms, values, and beliefs, attempt to keep pace with changes in the material element of culture, like technology, then cultural lag has occurred. Acculturation. The context between one culture and another to change the existing traits is referred to as acculturation. Enculturation. This is a process by which people become part of the native culture. This is done through the internalization of the morals, laws, and folk ways of such culture to become part and parcel of it. Module 4. Agents of Socialization. The survival of a society depends on how to maintain the degree of homogeneity amongst its members. Socialization perpetuates and reinforces this homogeneity by fixing in the child the essential similarities that collective life demands. These essential life ingredients are transmitted through the family, school, mosque, church, temple, peer group, market, mass media, and so forth. There are 5 main agents of socialization. 1. Family. 2. School. 3. Mosque, church, temple. 4. Peer group, market. 5. Mass media. The family. The family is a small social group with the responsibility of giving the offspring a qualitative and decent pattern of living. The family is expected to satisfy reproduction needs, economic needs, feeding, clothing, shelter, medical provision, and so on. Family transmits the cultural values and norms to the young generation and helps them to be fully integrated into the society. The family is the foundation of socialization because family is the first contact of the child. Children learn basic social values, desirable character traits, and norms from the family. The home assists in laying the foundation for personality and character development of a child. The success or failure of an individual depends on the type of social takeoff given by the family. Through family, the child is trained in a language, positive character traits, fundamental intellectual knowledge, vocational skills, and these skills are acquired through the initiation of the adult members of the family like father, mother, and other siblings at home. These people are expected to be role models, and the younger generation look up to them as examples for moral standard. The child's mind is very flexible and susceptible to any influence. The parent's love for the child makes a deep impression on him. The cordial relationship between both parents has significant influence on the personality development of the child. Parents need to ensure that they display high level of moral maturity so that they become examples to their offspring. The school. The school is another important agent of socialization. After the home, the child is exposed to the school, which also influences him. It socializes the child, gives him the opportunity to manifest his qualities, potentialities, and capabilities, instincts. The school helps and motivates the child to develop his personality. For the child, the teacher's personality and character provide model to copy. Every little action, every movement, speech made by the teacher impresses itself on the child's mind. Apart from the teacher, the child is also influenced by his schoolmates or groups. These mates or groups play a significant role in determining the role the child will occupy in the society later in life. During the process of education, the child's personality develops under the impact of the other personalities with whom he comes in contact. The cultural programs of the school also help to refine his attitudes. The school is also expected to transmit knowledge and skills into the learners to be able to face life challenges. The peer group. The peer group is the child's own friends and equals with similar drives, motives, and interests. The social world of the child has its own mode of interaction, values, and acceptable forms of behavior. Many of these the adults cannot understand. Peer groups take shape early in the child's life. There are different kinds of peer groups in a child's life. In the earlier years, these peer groups are relatively informal and transitory. They are adapted quickly to changing circumstances in the child's situation. Examples of peer groups are play groups, siblings, neighbors, children, schoolmates in the early years. In later years, however, they become more formally organized groups like clubs, societies, character building agencies like Boys, Scouts, Girls, Guides, and so on. In short, peer groups are social groups that influence the behavior of their members. Brothers, sisters, and people in the community are sources of an informal education of the child. Religious houses. People who share the same religious beliefs will also hold the same attitudes and opinions and will behave in the same way. Thus, religious institutions help in the socialization process of its members. The religious leaders are expected to demonstrate a high level of morality to serve as a role models to their followers. Religious institutions like churches, temples, mosques play an important role in education and socialization. Children meet people of same religious values and worldviews. They help the child to mentally and emotionally grow. Mass media. The mass media as an agent of socialization have their own technical characteristics. There are two major types, namely of mass media: print media, electronic media. This print is in the group of newspapers, magazines, periodicals, texts, billboards, and so on. The electronics media are the radio, television, video projectors, and so forth. These form avenues for socialization. Different types of messages are passed through mass media. Children need to be guided in the usage of their leisure hours to discourage cultivation and learning of negative ideas. The nuclear family, extended family, and school help the child in order to become acceptable member of the society. The socialization of the child is done through the family, school, peer group, religious houses, and mass media to intimate the child with the happenings in his environment. Summary. This unit has tried to look deeply into meaning of socialization, early socialization, and the agents of socialization. This unit focused centrally on upbringing of the child with the values and culture of his environment. The child is expected to be nurtured in accordance with the needs, aspirations and beliefs of the environment where she lives, to be able to participate actively in the social processes of the environments. The basic knowledge and skills necessary to earn a living in a modern community has been handed down through the educational system. Literacy is one of such skill and knowledge. In the same way, schools can undertake much of the vocational guidance to help the child to find a job which is more suited. Now, you can try to answer the questions given here. What is primary socialization? What is peer group and how does it help a child in the process of socialization? What is resocialization and what is the importance of it? Explain the terms cultural relativity, cultural shock, cultural change and cultural lag. What is organizational socialization? Now, you can go through the books for reference. A Dictionary of Sociology written by Gordon Marshall, published by Oxford University Press 1998. Foundations of Education, authored by Srinivas Bhattacharya, published by Atlantic Publishers and this 2006. Thank you for watching this program. We will continue the next session with another topic. Until then, goodbye. Take care.